So here it's Lethal Leary, first glimpse of him in 2025 with Ultimate Pool, and the first Dylan Leary snarl of 2025. There'll be more where that came from this season. He'll be hoping not the outcome of that break though. He flushed it, got this pretty nicely, and how often do you see a cut break going off in the top right corner pocket?
It just doesn't happen, does it? That's one of the reasons why you cut break, is to keep control of that cue ball. You know, you're much less likely to go in off when you hit it right, which he did. But unfortunately, that's what's happened. So Rab gets the first chance. Not the worst layout. He's got one problem to solve. Interesting, he's taking this one over the top corner first. I'm just thinking about the route through. You know, obviously he's got the problem at the bottom to solve. I don't know whether the potting angle's available on the red and yellow together at the bottom, but I was just thinking that could he go left centre first shot, then the one on the left hand side, and then use the one at the top of the table to connect back down. Just wondering if those three yellows in the middle now play quite big when he works this through. Probably going the right way here, because he can come down the table here. I was sort of thinking out loud, just that red in the middle of the table. Maybe he could have used the one at the top to get onto that one. I don't know. It would have been a tricky shot, I guess. So he's got a plan anyway. That's the most important thing, and it will all hinge on whether the red and yellow at the bottom are a problem.
I am willing to bet that plan is going to slightly alter.
Well, now that he's made the decision to come back and do this, I actually think he should have gone left centre. If he goes left centre first, leave himself the one he's just played down the table, one over the top left-hand corner pocket connects to this one here, and he's much better on it. But it doesn't matter, he's played a great shot anyway.
Yeah, he's got the gap there. That was a tough one to judge. Almost certainly wanted to be slightly the other side of that red. But
it's only, to be fair, he's just had a look. It's only good if that red goes, but I think the way he's played this, I'm sure it does. Otherwise, you know, you should have come down the table a lot earlier. Yeah, he's played on it, so he's okay. Looks good on the main camera. It looks nowhere near on the overhead. But cue ball being smaller than the object, well, it doesn't look good there, does it? But it must go.
Wow, it was tight.
He played it with a lot of pace. If it was that tight, you'd think you'd just drift it in and, you know, play for the red into the left centre pocket. So if it was that tight, maybe that's a slightly confused visit to the table for Rab.
Yeah, not sure how much more red he could have pinched there.
If that didn't go, or it was that tight that, you know, it didn't look like it went from our camera angles. Maybe the main camera it did, but from the one we saw him miss it on, absolutely did not, and the overhead absolutely not. But let me ask the question in this way: if that was Tom Cousins with that layout and that ball didn't go, he gets after it first shot, doesn't he? Or he gets after it second shot. He finds the...
And every shot after that until it becomes free.
Yeah, so he finds the ball, he uses a ball to get on position to be able to play it second shot if he can't do it first shot. That's it. Even if you've got, you know, cue ball in hand anywhere behind the break line, you're thinking, oh, well, I'll deal these ones at the top and then come down. But that's not the way that Tom goes about it. And in my opinion, that's, you know, part of the reason why he's the best player in the world, because he's that aggressive on his bad ball.
Far from the most simple counter clearance for Dylan Leary, but these are the sorts of finishes that he has made look simple for a very long time.
He's got to play a shot here, though. This isn't, you know, he can't just float this in. He's going to have to, you know, punch it in. Probably might even play it with a little bit of left-hand side off the cushion as well.
Yeah, this needs to be a very good shot. And it is.
Sorts of shots you expect Dylan to make. He's such a good cueist. He leaves himself a lot of those sorts of shots, and he's confident with it.
But those are the sorts of shots, and you know yourself from, you know, talked about the days of yore earlier on, from the days of yore when you were back playing, those shots in your early frames were sort of pace setters, weren't they? You wanted to be able to punch one of those in, and if you got it and you got out, you felt good about the rest of your match.
yeah, if you do make one of those early, you do feel good about it, because you've had to cue one really well. That's not one you can get away with. You can't float it in, give the pocket every chance. You only make that shot if you cue it well. Obviously, you expect all the top players to cue that well, but it's not an absolute guarantee. And I can tell you from personal experience that something like that will certainly make you feel good going into frame 2.
What a break. What a break.
Please, just one tournament with that would I'd make a comeback if I had that for one tournament.
I mean, that is
ridiculous.
a boomstick from Rab Mccullough. But look at the cue. He cues that an absolute dream. But he doesn't. We saw Brian Halcrow break earlier, and similar amounts of force, to be fair. But you could see he was flying everything at it. He was stood up on the break. The cue was a little bit wild. He was having to cue up to get it out of the way. All this sort of stuff. Rab has essentially just cued one, just in a straight line. But just that's the amount of cue power he's got. That's an incredible break.
Easy cue power as well, wasn't it? There's just tap the brake and it explodes as big as anything you're ever going to see. He'll be slightly disappointed with his first shot, just simply because he was trying to develop this red that he's now nearest to.
Well, are you tempted to play it into the right centre now? You're as good on it as you could ever possibly hope to be.
I think the long plant might be the one. You can play it slow enough, hold the cue ball so it goes past the yellow to top left for the red next. Yeah.
Slightly misplayed that.
Yeah, he just got it a touch thin.
Yeah. Because the red has moved a lot more than he wanted it to. And I think it's moved into a slightly awkward position as well. Probably has to go right centre now with it, but that looks tight.
Yeah, and he needed
May not go anywhere.
You needed it to stay near the pocket, so because you're playing top left now, then you're leaving the one on the cushion, and you do not want to have to force that down the table. But he's probably going to have to. If not, I suppose he could play the gap. There's probably more space on the yellow, below the red below the two yellows than it looks. Well, he's playing it now.
Yeah, I think he has to.
Is he on the red to top left? Which is another, that means that last shot was very poor. To almost miss the plant was one thing, but I thought he got the cue ball right. But he didn't. He'd gone too far with the cue ball. There's no way you play that one to come back up the table for the one we thought he was on. So he's just not settled out there.
Important to add a couple of caveats, of course. This is Rab's first time playing on Monday Night Pool as an individual player. Champions League debut. He's going to hold back here. Not a bad decision, I would say. But there's been a couple of moments where it looks like his cue ball hasn't been quite there, but that's been almost on pace rather than line. I just wonder if the speed of the table's just catching him a little bit early going, because we're only in his his second frame of the night.
He missed the cannon on the first shot. That all happened quite quickly, but he grazed the cannon rather than getting out. If he gets that cannon right, then the finish is 10 times easier. And obviously the pace control thereafter maybe makes things worse.
It's a lovely shot. That is a lovely shot.
It is if he's on this yellow to bottom left as well. Did Rab have many better options than what he played? Obviously he couldn't continue to be aggressive. He had nothing on there, but to leave that to right centre, as good a shot as that was, you expect Dylan to make that pot. Having to turn this one because he's getting the right hand side on.
Turn it he does.
Shot, wasn't it?
Yeah, turn it he does.
8 ball goes up the table. Doesn't go right centre, but it goes, you can get underneath it. Doesn't have to move it. Just make sure you don't land straight on this next one, really. Yeah.
I was just about to say, therefore the yellow by his hand, that time will be his last ball. Just a track underneath it, and he's got a lovely line to come down the table now off the yellow to top left.
You see a lot of amateur players on that shot that Dylan's just played, just knock it in and leave next to no angle on this yellow at the top of the table. But that's no good. Much better off playing the shot the way that Dylan did, although he probably pulled back a roll more than he wanted to, but he dealt with that delicate shot well. But you want the angle there to connect back down the table.
this from Dylan Leary.
If it goes in the centre, then it's very nice. But
yeah, if it only goes top left, he's still going to make a decent 8-ball here. But the way that he started tonight, you've got to say you fancy him for it. Never in doubt, was it? Never in doubt. Lethal Leary goes 2 in front. And you just wonder, at the beginning of 2025, is this the year for Dylan Leary that he finally gets his hand on ultimate pool silver? Just felt like last year was a real step forward for him. Felt like he was a genuine contender in tournaments.
I think he absolutely is a genuine contender in every tournament he turns up in because of the level that he can play at. There are a lot of players, and obviously part of our jobs here is to sort of analyse the game and to understand what's going on. And you look at players and you try and work out what do they need to do differently to go on and make the next step forward. And it's well, hang on a minute, not quite. But it's difficult to say what that is with Dylan because he feels like such a good player all round. So does he just keep plugging away? Does he keep, believe that it will happen?
There's not much by way of weakness there for Dylan, is there?
No.
And that you probably therefore go to the idea of, well, maybe he's just not quite winning the big moments at the moment. And one of those just needs to go the other way. And to your point earlier about 6 red shootouts, he's been on the raw end of a couple of those that have come at crucial times in late stage in tournaments.
Well, with that in mind, do you look at pace of play and that's gone wrong. That's gone very wrong. We'll come back to well, I'll finish my point as he's in trouble here, so Rabs should get an opportunity. But what I mean by pace of play is obviously Dylan's been in a lot of 6 red shootouts and he hasn't had the success with them. They are difficult, and if you can increase your pace of play even by a few seconds per shot as an average, that means you're going to end up in less 6 red shootouts. So is that something that Dylan could look at?
I tell you what, I think he's been really unlucky there. He played a really lovely 3-ball plan, and if that cue ball stops a roll short, he has a shot to the left centre and he's on for another 1-visit chance at the table. But it's a game of small margins on the small table, and Mccullough now with an opportunity to go back to 2-1 with 7 minutes and small change remaining. Even at this relatively early juncture in the evening, you feel like it's a big visit to the table for Rab.
It is, because if those 2 yellows at the top need to be moved, then you're leaving it very late to move them.
Almost in a strange way, is mirroring what we saw in his first frame. It's the same sort of layout, is it? Yeah. Does one of them pass independently though this time?
Yeah, absolutely. And the one at the top of the table is not a great ball to move them if they have to be moved, because you've got perfect and that's it. There's no margin. He's got an angle here where he can play this with running side to play position on it. It would be a huge amount of running side if he wanted to try and go into the yellows. He's played position and he's not got past the 8-ball. Needed a touch more right hand side on that.
Oh, he's unlucky.
He is.
He's made a brilliant pot there. He's made an absolutely brilliant pot there. I actually love the mentality there from Rab, where he said, right, I know it goes, and I played a bad shot, but I'm still on it, and I'm going to play it. Played it with loads of aggression and intensity, just was like, no, I'm going to make this. Made it, and he's just unlucky the cue ball squeezed it off.
He was asking for a lot of things to go his way there.
He was, yeah.
He got the exact opposite. I mean, what else can you do in that situation? There's no safety play. 2-0 down already. You've got to take on the big shot. It couldn't have gone worse for him, obviously. And it was a tough layout, because I don't know how you have to guess. He's decided he's going to back himself to get that perfect cue ball, but you're going to have to do it late with not a great ball to do it with. It was a tough layout, and it came down to one shot, which he got, a ball's height wrong, really. If it goes inside the 8 or above the 8 ball, then he's out already.
Leary has looked pretty imperious so far. The noise you just heard heralds the beginning of the 15-second shot clock. Dylan won't be needing that. It's 3-0. Superstar from Lethal Leary, former All-Ireland champion, former European champion. The year before the COVID pandemic struck in 2019, he had an all-star year. Just felt like COVID almost took him off the rails a little bit in that sense. Had to work his way back to form and trophy-winning potential.
But even then,
the hard yards, and he's done it now.
Yeah, but even then, you can, you can't kind of look at any.
You can't do that every year, I guess.
No, but I was thinking you can't look at the performances and go that that there's not been anything that stands out as going, oh, he really struggled for a period of time. It just he's played consistently, but it's not led to a trophy yet.
Almost feels sick, really, watching Rab cut break. I can understand why he's done it, because it's 3 frames down. He needed the 8 ball really to have a realistic chance of winning this match with a golden break. But a man who can break that well should never ever cut break ever.
I'm with you. Just get on and make 7 or 8 balls off the break and mop them up in 15 seconds, isn't it? That was, his break is so good.
Carom shot from Dylan, and this is all there now for him on reds. The only thing that's not really there for him is the 8 ball, and I do just wonder if it passes into the top left, top right as we look at it.
I don't think so.
Overhead.
I don't think so. So then, when do you play into it? I suppose you have the luxury of the being 3-0 up, so the right thing to do. Well, he's not on a red down the table by the looks of things. He can play into it now if he wants to. No. My thinking was that the right thing to do in this scenario, 3-0 up with 4 minutes to play, is to leave the ball he just missed as your last ball and play into it if that's what it needs, because you've used all the balls to get there, which kills up a lot of the time. And if you don't come out on it, then it doesn't matter. It's done its job. Your decision making is different in timed matches than if you're just playing a straight race to something.
With a tricky shot to middle that didn't fall his way, and now Dylan can wrap up the match. Still though has the problem of that 8 ball, and it's not going to be particularly easy to deal with.
Surprised he's leaving this down the table.
Well, he almost missed that, Dylan, which is why he's short on position. Quite that thick.
Yeah,
so just about made the pot, but his cue ball isn't right.
The reason he's taken that one at the top, obviously he's got the positional shot wrong, but the reason he did take that one was because he felt he couldn't get the angle, so he could have gone 2 cushions with the yellow down the table to get onto the ball that he made top left, but he wouldn't have had the angle then to get on the one at the top, so had to go the way around he did. Obviously just came up short with the cue ball because he nearly missed the pot, and then he was able to swing it around 3 cushions, possibly even 4, to get on that right at the top of the table.
This was a big match for both of these gentlemen. The first match ended a draw. If you're just joining us, Brian Halcrow coming from behind. He was 2-0 down. He ended up at 2-2 against Shaun Storry. With the first match being a draw, it made this match even more pivotal. And Dylan Leary, well, I say he's about to win it 4 frames to 0. Is he? Yes, he is. Excellent finish from Dylan Leary, an excellent performance from Dylan Leary. Rab Mack will be back. He'll be back, in fact, in the next match. He's got a big one he needs to win. Dylan Leary, though, in the box seat in the Champions League.